and foolproof. Atma Pramana, account of His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, this millennium's avatars, personal experience of power manifestation. Bhagavan placed the Leela to showcase how just going beyond the cognition and or detox his body, he can manifest all the powers of Paramashiva. Shakshi Pramana, the experience of the millions of disciple devotees, followers, initiated by Bhagavan in the Kailash courtyard to receive all the powers of Paramashiva, auspiciousness and abundance and bliss and healing. Pratyaksha Pramana, the scientific study measuring the effect of being in the enlightened state. All these powers directly show that not only the thoughtless space, all these powers are authentically verified and scientifically verified. The Shastra Pramana. The Shastra Pramana for the power of consciousness over matter taken from Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Vijnana, consciousness. Bhairava, one who experiences consciousness beyond the mind, and Tantra is the method. How you have the methods for setting up a computer or doing a physics lab, math lab, you have the same thing here, that you can experience the oneness and manifest as superconscious powers. Shastra Pramana.
The ultimate space we can live in.
The Shastra Pramana for the power of consciousness over matter, silicon, is taken from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, Sutra 120. Kvachid vastuni vinyasya shanair drishtim nivartayet tajnanam devi shunyalayo bhavet. Kvachid vastuni vinyasya shanair drishtim nivartayet tajnanam chitta sahitam devi shunyalayo bhavet.
Bhagavan Paramashiva says, having fixed one's eyes on a particular object, Vastu, one should slowly withdraw the sight from the object as well as slowly eliminate the knowledge of the object, the thought of the object and the impression of the object. Then, O Devi, one abides in Sunya, the state where there is nothing other than this exists, is the state of all-inclusiveness or infinity. Bhagavan Paramashiva beautifully says, when you withdraw from this materialist world, you get into that beautiful space of oneness and you can manifest as the extraordinary powers. Beautifully, when Bhishma Acharya, when he was in the deathbed, the bed of arrows, and he wanted to leave his body. Before he left his body, he can decide when to leave. Ganga Mata has blessed because he's gone beyond the fear and greed and experience the oneness. So he decides to go leave his body at his will. But before that, he sings on the Vishnu Sahasranama, the 1,000 names of Vishnu, and he picked up in 6 different dimensions and arranged it in such a profound and phenomenal way that even Krishna was completely into it, that everybody, the Panchapandavas and Krishna, simply that whole space when he was singing the Vishnu Sahasranama. And nobody took note of it. Then he left his body and everybody like, oh my God, how do we retrieve it back? Nobody has the detail, and they go to Krishna and say, what do we do now? How do we retrieve the whole thing? That was the greatest happening and we cannot miss it. We were all in the space that we just became one with it and we did not record it. And then Krishna beautifully says, Sahadeva, go to Sahadeva. He has the blessed Spadiga Mala that he's wearing. And this Spadiga Mala is the first thing which records all that which is there in the sounds in the outer world. So Sahadeva has the power to retrieve it from the Spadiga. And beautifully the Spadiga had recorded all this Nama, and it is said that he wrote down everything from the Spadiga Mala, and Vedavyasa wrote it down when Sahadeva narrated the whole thing. This beautiful space of oneness, going beyond that matter and experiencing the oneness of consciousness, gives the greater dimension how we can experience that. That is why Bhagavan says, when you wear mala of 10,000 beads of the Rudraksh, always Bhagavan is filled in Rudraksh. That is because the Rudraksh have the power of storing the energy. Rudraksh and the gold are the only thing which can be put on the deity and put on you. And that holds all this greater energy. Same way the Spadiga holds the sound energy. And anything chanted or anything there, it holds that energy and it can be transformed. These greatest signs that again and again that the Pramanas are giving us, Bhagavan is giving us to make us understand there is something beyond just the matter that we live in. We are stuck with the impossibility. Bhagavan says impossibility is nothing but your fantasy. Dropping that fantasy and seeing the very nature that you are a possibility, simply you awaken to the higher reality. The Apta Pramana for consciousness over matter. Beautifully, the Nandanar, the greatest Nayanar. This is from Periya Puranam. Nandanar, he was singing and he was not allowed inside the temple. He is one of the greatest Nayanar. Once he went and asked his boss in that village that he had to go and see Nataraja, but he did not allow. And he said, only if you grow the whole field and the corn, the rice comes out, and only if everything is ready, you can go. You can't simply leave your work and go somewhere. You are a worker. So Nandanar goes and sings and falls in the field itself and prays that field, you grow fully so that I can go and see Chidambara, Nataraja. And simply to the next day, the whole field is grown fully and all the weeds and all the whole farm is ready for harvesting. And seeing that, the person who's in charge, he just said, fell at his feet and said, you are ultimate and whatever space you are, please. And Nandanar is said to go to Nataraja and merge into Nataraja. Here, when he went to a Shiva temple in the South India, when he was not allowed to go inside the temple, he requests Nandi Bhagwan to move a little so that he can see the linga. And simply to his words, Nandi moved his way and Shiva gave the darshan. The greatest, this is the Shivaloka Radha temple in Tirupukar. Through the prayers, he moved the whole heavy Nandi. It's made of granite stone, and he moved it and he experienced the oneness with Paramashiva. All this, just an ordinary worker who has no intelligence, he was able to that knowledge is not the only intelligence, it is the intelligence how you exist as Paramashiva that you can manifest reality, command over reality and manifest all the possibilities. Bhagavan beautifully speaks in Atma Pramana how he was sitting with Arnagiri Yogeshwara and he said very clearly that all that exists is one. All we understand is the body and the mind. If we say we are the body, then the body does not recognize us during the dream state or deep sleep state. We don't even know that where our body is. Somebody takes our body and puts it away in a different place, we won't even know. Then what is that? We are body. Then we are not the body. If we are the body, we should know completely the whole thing. But we are not the body, and sorry for the technical glitch. If we are the body, continuously we should feel the body. But in the two states of our own life, we don't feel the body. Even when the death happens, the body does not cry, does not say, oh my God, why are you leaving? It's something like a vehicle. Then what are the senses? That is completely in the mind. If you see, if you're watching something, it is not your eyes is experiencing it. Your eyes actually send to your brain and your brain is experiencing it. And all that you define is only the what you see and experience in the brain based on the knowledge that you have got it. You call it the color, you call it the senses, you call the emotion, you call everything. But even science cannot tell which nerve of your cell in the brain knows the color or knows the shape. It is just your perception that you are saying this is what it is. Then if you're not the mind, if you're not the body, then who is that who you are? Bhagavan beautifully says, that which you cannot forget, that which you cannot remember, but that which remembers you. The ultimate consciousness, Paramashiva, is who you are. Forgetting that and deluded into that, whatever worldly security, worldly things that we are engaged, when we little bit step out of it, we start experiencing the oneness with Paramashiva. We recognize the Paramashiva space, and when we are ready, simply Bhagavan says, whoever is in the Kailash Courtyard, I myself will manifest through them as myself, Sundareshwara Paramashiva, as our reality. Here you can see how Shakshi Pramana, they are rolling the coconut on the ground. That is what we are going to do. If you don't have a coconut, you can have a object, or you can have the Atmalinga or any other object which is not automatically rolling. It has a stability like the coconut. Because of the weight of the coconut, it cannot roll over by itself. But you can see here, just by chanting the Mahavakya, nobody is touching it, nothing is happening. It just stays and stays for a few minutes. And after that, it just rolls over by just consciousness over matter, by the third eye. Same here also, you can see it's a flat surface. There is no slope, there is nothing. And this coconut is very well placed, and there is no way of the coconut moving. But just through the consciousness over matter, you can try this during your puja, how it is cracking down. The coconuts, the Balasins used to have so much fun in the courtyard just by cracking coconuts. Whichever coconut is there, they will go and crack it by third eye, no touching it. You know how hard it is to crack a coconut, and you need like a hammer or a stone, and you have to use a force. But just by the third eye, you can crack a coconut. You can keep coconut during the puja and see. Once I had it in my puja, and simply I saw a huge crack happen at the end of the puja. Simply to show that Paramashiva exists as real. All this greater science is again and again given to us to make us understand we are Paramashiva. There is nothing that we need to ask anything. Bhagavan says, even you are praying, you are me, Soham Asmi. So understanding that only when we are ready to receive, the receiver is ready, then the whole manifestation happens as our reality, as blessing. So Bhagavan is again and again preparing us to receive the ultimate consciousness as our reality. Now make sure the ground doesn't have any slope and it is very stable, and you can keep it in the surface. If you're keeping it on a tab, make sure the tab or the silicon is not vibrating. It should be completely switched off, and there is no app which is playing on that. And there should be no slope, so that you don't have any self-doubt, any denial, self-hatred, but you know purely Paramashiva is sitting with you and manifesting these powers. Let's sit straight, few minutes of meditation, and so much we can experience. If we sit just for meditation, so many thoughts keep coming. Bhagavan says, when you visualize, you bring Paramashiva, Sundareshwara Paramashiva in your third eye. All that greatest blessing, again and again, seeing everybody as Paramashiva, seeing yourself as Sundareshwara, sit with 25 heads and 75 eyes and 50 hands. Enjoy the experience that you are Sundareshwara. Just mirroring with the quantum space. Now they speak about neuroplasticity, quantum space, mirroring neuron. But Bhagavan has given us such simple method. Just sit there, literally mirroring Bhagavan in the quantum space, chanting the Mahavakya continuously with a deep listening and deep surrender. surrendering what you know as your identity. You are Paramashiva. It's not your so-and-so experiencing Paramashiva. You are Paramashiva experiencing all that dreams. Whatever you're going through is dream. The same material that is made in the dream is also experienced now. Each one is completely deluded in the dream. Remember to wake you up and remember how you keep an alarm. Again and again, get back to listening. Listening is our alarm. Again and again, when we get back to listening and chant the Mahavakya, and in deep gratitude, if somebody posed $1 trillion to you, how much gratitude you would have? Much more than that, in deep gratitude and surrender space, in deep love. They have now proven that love changes your subconscious mind, and when you have the love with the ultimate source, what could happen? You bring down all the auspiciousness and abundance in your life. Let's start chanting the Mahavakya continuously from your navel center with a deep listening to experience consciousness over matter.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
So beautiful. Whatever you have taken a picture or recorded, please save it. We'll have one more cycle. Many of the people who just keep chanting and don't see what is happening, and many times the Atmalinga moves and moves back, and only in that recording they really know that it has moved. So don't miss to record these great moments. These are not your ordinary camera recording. These are superconscious space which is getting recorded, and simply by just watching that recording again and again, you will entangle into the higher space. That is why when you share and when you start reading all that about the possibilities that you are Paramashiva, you start experiencing that as your reality. What we soak ourselves, we become that. Bhagavan beautifully said, what you eat, you belch. The same thing, whatever you cherish in your life, as Paramashiva, as Sundareshwara, the deep love, the deep oneness, the space, starts becoming a reality when only you decide to reside in Paramashiva. Just not be going and asking something doesn't help us in any way. You should be able to receive. It's like going to Ganga and say, give me water, give me water. And Bhagavan says, if you go with a cup, you can only get it in the cup. But if you go with a big barrel, you can get a barrel of water. If you go with a tanker, you can take it. Same way, you have to have the receiving space for Bhagavan to bless you with abundance and auspiciousness. If you go and ask just like that, give me water, give me blessing, nothing happens to us. If you go with a space of oneness, and then you start experiencing more and more, you are able to experience the Paramashiva space in you. And beyond your delusion, letting go the delusion, you take the responsibility. It's like you taking a tanker and going to Paramashiva. You become enlightenment itself. The greater science lies in us. It's not that we pray and something happens. How much we are ready to prepare ourselves. And beautifully, Svetaketu, for 12 years, he was under a teacher learning all the great scriptures. But finally, his father said, you have not learnt anything. And letting go everything, he had to stay with the cow to unwind him from that all that education and become one. And he got initiated from the crane, from the cow, and different animals before he prepared himself to receive the blessing from his master. Ultimately, once the cow came and said, oh, you go to the master because we have become 1,000 cows, and then only he could receive what his master had to give him, the enlightened space. The receiving space is how we prepare ourselves for Bhagavan to bless all the auspicious and abundance. The responsibility is in us. Yes, that is also Bhagavan's will, but that we wanting it is the first step. And then when you seek, for example, you want to know something, you go and type in the Google, you receive all the information. It's like that. You go and search for Paramashiva. Who's that? If I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, then who's that who's experiencing all this? When you go on searching inside, Bhagavan says, it clicks with you. Life is nothing but a feedback system. It is an intelligent system. The more you perceive the higher intelligence, more you start manifesting the higher reality. How it exists as a quantum and how it manifests as a quantum gets unfolded in you as reality. And all the auspiciousness happens because you understand the higher science, how it really originally is. Beautifully, we can experience the greatest thing, consciousness over matter, that Bhagavan has blessed all of us into that greatest science. Now, for a few minutes, take your camera and start recording and keep the coconut or the object in front of you. Just keep chanting continuously and more recognize the Paramashiva space in you. Bhagavan says, recognizing is recognizing yourself from what your identity you hold to Paramashiva space. Let's start chanting the Mahavakya from the navel center with a deep listening to experience the oneness.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Paramashivoham, 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 Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Beautiful. Whatever you have experienced, please go ahead, share it in tinyurl.com/powermanifestation. And you can go to the page also, Kailash Kotyard Manifesting Power page. Whoever has shared all the great signs, again and again, you can go through that, reading all this, and again, you experiencing all the powerful cognition, the blessings, and whatever you're going through, even in your life, you can share that. Take just 5 minutes of your time and thank Bhagwan. All that you need to do, have little gratitude and thank Bhagwan for whatever He's showering on all of us. Even in the worst of the worst time, simply showering on all of us all the auspiciousness and simple integrity, simple obedience to receive that and experience that. The more we get engaged into enriching and causing, how the greatest Sahananda is known for enriching and causing the world. And he has enriched and caused with Vishnu Sahasrana the greatest gift, the greatest thing, how it was even done on planet Earth. And beautifully, all this, when you go on sharing, it starts becoming your reality. And if you see the dollar sign, whatever you want, you can offer. When you offer to Kailasha, when you protect the Dharma, Dharma protects you. And simply, whatever you vote for, every week you buy the same coffee product or the same milk. Why? Is because that's brand you like. Again and again, when you vote for Paramashiva, again and again, it builds the Paramashiva space in you. And these are the greatest understanding, intelligence that Bhagwan is giving us in a very simple and easy way. All that we need to do is just be in deep surrender and deep gratitude to experience all this truth. So don't forget to tag it to your friends and families. They are nothing but a reflection of you, who is also Paramashiva. Recognizing them as Paramashiva is recognizing yourself as Paramashiva. All these great signs to unfold our delusion and wake up us into the absolute reality. So let's thank Bhagwan, and thanking all of you, hundreds of you sitting all over the world and creating such a beautiful space of Paramashiva, Kailasha of Paramashiva. So thanking all of you, thanking Bhagwan, and deep earning that Paramashiva being our existential reality. With that, surrendering all this powerful cognition and power manifestation to Bhagwan's lotus feet, again and again when we surrender, we recognize the higher depth, the higher cognitions, the deeper cognitions that we are Paramashiva. So with that gratitude, let's end this session with the Purna Mantra. Let's sit straight. Visualize Paramashiva in your third eye. Om Purna Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavate Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Thank you so much for being here. See you after the next session on